The Archivum core was older than most stars in the sky. It floated inside a cold asteroid shell at the edge of the Genkar Nebula, hidden from wars, time, and life itself. No one built anything like it anymore. It was created by the Virex Empire, extinct and designed for only one purpose: to study every civilization and rank its power it had studied. 9,874 known spacefaring species. It had predicted 133 wars, 42 collapses, and even the destruction of 3 entire planets. It never made a mistake. Until now. Drexel 9, curious young analyst from the Durali Unity, leaned close to the glowing interface. His tentacles tapped gently. Against the control surface, he had spent his life in libraries learning ancient tech. Now he had access to the Archivum core, the holy machine that once guided empires. But this time, Drexel wasn't just asking the AI for a history lesson. He was here for something bigger. "We want to expand," Drexel said, his voice calm and firm. "We want to know who is next to challenge us, who might rise." The machine made no sound, but lines of bright white code danced across the dark air in front of him, running updated galactic power rankings. Species names began to appear. One by one, the AI calculated their strength. Each had a score based on military might, technological advancement, fleet mobility, economic stability, and social cohesion. The Catharia Hive. 9.8, the Trinary Consensus. 9.6, the Velen Accord. 9.1, the Durali Unity, Drexel's people. 8.7, the list went on. And then at the bottom, Drexel's eyes narrowed. Species 9998, Terran. Designation Humanity score 0.3. He blinked. Earth? That dirt-covered blue planet from the Sol system? That must be an error, Drexel said aloud. But the Archivum spoke. Confirmed. Minimal threat. Limited expansion. Crude technology. Divided governance. No interest from major factions. Frowned. He had heard of humans barely. Scattered colonies. Unstable politics. Small ships. They hadn't even joined the Council of Races. But something about the Archivum's tone felt off. He scrolled deeper. The data said Earth's fleet. Numbers were low. Weapons outdated. Energy output almost laughable. No advanced AI. No genetic mastery. No wormhole tech. They had missiles, crude lasers, and a few planetary shields. 0.3, Drexel whispered. Why even record them at all? He almost shut the file. But then something changed. The Archivum suddenly paused. All lights dimmed for 3 seconds. Drexel's hearts pounded. Error detected, the Archivum said. Temporal feedback detected from entry 9998. What? Drexel leaned in. Temporal feedback? From Earth? Suddenly the Earth profile locked itself. Then it tried to delete. Security override engaged. Archivum core, attempting memory. Wipe. Drexel's hands flew across the panel. How? Show me what triggered it. The AI resisted. For the first time in thousands of years, it refused to obey. Drexel activated the emergency protocols. He forced a data leak into the system and rerouted the backup logs, and then he saw it. A small piece of footage, signal, something Earth had. Sent, just 6 minutes ago. It was a message. It's broadcast into deep space. It's not encrypted. But not random either. A voice human, male, low and calm, spoke in a language Drexel's translator barely understood. You studied power. You measured weapons. You forgot one thing. We don't lose quietly.
Then came the image.
It was Earth not. How it looked now, but burning. A simulation? A prediction? No. A warning. The Archivum went dark. Every hologram vanished. The asteroid shivered. Then in one final whisper, the machine spoke directly to Drexel. They're not what they seem. Earth cannot be calculated. Do not provoke them. Then the core shut down for the first time in its existence. Drexel stood in silence, frozen. What just happened? He turned slowly to the exit, but something inside him had changed. A species ranked the weakest just made the most powerful AI in the galaxy glitch. He opened a new private log, one not shared with his government, and in simple words he wrote, Earth is a variable, unknown, possibly dangerous. Recommends silent observation, but far away. Earth was already moving. Ships were leaving hidden shipyards. Signals were being jammed. And somewhere, human commander smiled, because someone finally noticed, and it was already too late. The Durali High Council did not believe Drexel. Even with the emergency report, even with the partial signal from Earth, even after the Archivum Corps shut down completely for the first time in history, they dismissed it. Earth is a backwater, said Chancellor Yekin, flicking his forefingers with irritation. Even the lowest trade worlds outperform them. Their silence means one thing. They've given up. Drexel stood at the bottom of the council chamber, eyes locked on the floating screen that still displayed Earth's old profile's 0.3 score. No threat. Irrelevant. But he had seen what the AI saw. He had heard the signal. He remembered the Irvim's final words. Do not provoke them. No one else seemed to care. Far away on the dark side of Earth's moon, Project Black Echo reactivated. No public announcement. No fleet mobilization. Not a single broadcast. But deep underground, below layers of lunar rock, a large black chamber hummed to life. Admiral Celeste Ward stood in front of the launch interface. Her face was hard. Her eyes colder than space itself. She looked at the rows of officers and engineers beside her. Command is silent. No contact from the UN Council. No backup from EarthGov. That's fine, she said. She turned to the launch bays. Because we're not asking permission. The massive vault doors slid open, revealing 6 sleek, black warship ships that had no registered names, no active beacons, and no legal existence. The world thought Earth had 28 warships. It had 72. These 6 were the ones. Never meant to be seen. Back on the Durali homeworld, Drexel couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen. His species had access to 1,000 intelligence networks, 28 monitored species, and constant drone patrols through Sol, space. But no one had reported anything new from Earth. Drexel decided to find out for himself. He traveled to an outpost station near Sector 14, the nearest observation zone to Sol. Officially, it was used to monitor debris and survey dying stars. Unofficially, it kept one eye on Earth. The sensor logs showed nothing, except one strange detail. All drones that passed Earth's orbit lost signal, but only for 2.3 seconds. Then they resumed as if nothing had happened, every single time. Drexel reviewed the logs of the last 18 months. A pattern emerged. Every surveillance drone experienced a blackout bubble when it crossed near Lagrange point L2. Behind Earth's moon, no one had investigated. Because no one cared, but Drexel's hearts beat faster. That exact point. Aligned with where Earth had launched a signal in the Archivum log, he opened a secret transmission not to the Council, but to a personal contact and exiled hacker from the Corex network. If you can tap their deep channels, Drexel wrote, I'll erase your record. He attached the coordinates. 2 days later, he got a message. Just one line. You were right. And now they know you're watching. Drexel felt ice in his blood. He tried to send a second message, but it bounced. His contact was gone. Deleted. Dead. He ran a system scan on his terminal. 3 red alerts popped up. Incoming connection trace. Source, unknown. Encryption, Terran. Signature detected. He yanked the power module. The screen died instantly. Back on the moon. Admiral Celeste stood before the 6 dark warships now powered and ready. Each ship had no name. Just a number 7 engines. Triple reactive shields. Gravity slip cores, stolen from alien ruins. Plasma blades built in orbit around Io, and a prototype AI core designed by the One Group. Earth never spoke about the old Earth Defense Initiative. The EID went dark 20 years ago. No one knew why until now. Each of these ships was invisible to scanners. Silent on comes worse. No. They could hijack any satellite, any ship, any drone, just by passing close enough. C.E. Lisa looked at the Commanding officers standing beside her. You know your missions? No noise, no kills. Just let them see something. They nodded, and one by one, the ships vanished into the void. At the edge of the Velen trade ring, a cargo freighter caught. Something strange, a flicker, not a full signal. Not a full ship, just a ghost. The pilot blinked. Did you see that? He asked his co-pilot. See what? A massive black shape had passed behind the moon, then was gone. No trace, no engine trail, no gravity wave. The pilot submitted a report. It was flagged, then deleted. The council never saw it. Drexel, fully obsessed, turned rogue. He left his position, stole a small scout ship, and headed to Earth's system alone. He was determined to see it for himself, to understand why the AI had glitched, why Earth was silent. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. As his ship approached the Sol system, he passed Jupiter, then Mars, then Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful, too peaceful. But as he activated long-range scans, something strange happened. Every instrument on his ship shut down, all of them. Then the ship alerted itself, toward the moon, toward something. Behind the moon, his ship began to slow. On its own, then his screen lit up. A human face appeared. Female, black uniform, steel gray eyes. We've been watching you, Drexel. His blood ran cold. You came close enough to ask questions. That makes you smarter than the rest, but not smart enough to stop now. So here's your answer. This is not weakness. This is stage 1. Then the signal cut, and the last thing Drexel saw was a dark warship moving directly above him. No sound, no light, but its presence filled the stars. Drexel never returned. His transmission was cut mid-sentence. His scout ship stopped broadcasting somewhere near Earth's moon. The Durali Unity marked him as missing in non-hostile territory. But his last private log what little recovered. From clouds synced, told a different story. Earth saw me, spoke to me, said this isn't weakness, it's stage 1. And just like that, fear began to spread through the shadows. The Velen Accord, known for their precision monitoring systems, launched a cloaked drone toward Earth. It was silent, invisible, built from dark matter alloys. No one had ever caught one before. It slipped past Mars, slid toward the moon. Then it blinked out. Gone. No explosion. No error. Just static. Velen engineers replayed the last frame over and over. There was no visual contact with any object. No magnetic interference. Only one anomaly. A shadow. That didn't match any celestial body. And the sound. Not from the drone. Not from space, but embedded in the signal. Somehow a voice, slow, calm. Human, you're not the first to watch. But you'll be the last to look and live. Velen Command panicked. They marked Earth's system sensor quarantined. They told their people it was a solar flare anomaly. They told the truth to no one. Back at Durali High Command, the council met again, this time in private. No recordings, no public mention of Drexel's disappearance. Chancellor Yekin was angry. This is a trick. Earth is bluffing, he said. Maybe they found some old alien wreckage. Maybe they scared Drexel with parlor tricks. But Earth cannot outmatch our tech. I want a fleet scan. Full spectrum. 6 ships. Others hesitated. Counselor Risha, quiet and wise, frowned. And if they are not bluffing, we've seen too many vanish. Yekin slammed the table. Then we forced the bluff. To end. Earth saw them coming. Before the 6 Durali ships even entered the outer asteroid belt, Earth's black warships were already in motion. But they didn't fire. They didn't jam. They simply followed. The Durali ships didn't even notice the presence until a pilot picked up a faint echo in their rear sensors. Something's behind us, he said. His commander laughed. A rock? A comet? The pilot frowned. No, it's moving like us. Same course, same speed, always behind. The commander turned pale, but when they looked back, nothing. The ship was gone. No echo, no visual, just stars. Hours passed. each. Dorelli's ship began experiencing odd problems. One lost 12 seconds of navigation. Data another had its shield power drained for no reason. A third saw its weapon targeting systems turn inward. Then came the real warning. The flagship's commander, Captain Hareen, stepped onto the bridge and found a message written on every screen. "We let you come this far. Turn around." He demanded answers from his crew. No one had written it. No one even detected the intrusion. And then, one of their smaller ships exploded. No enemy fire. No impact. It simply ripped itself apart from the inside like the systems disagreed with each other. And detonated. Only 3 survivors. They floated in escape pods, shaking eyes wide, repeating the same phrase. It spoke to the ship. It told it to die. Back on Earth, deep within the command bunker under Greenland's ice shelf, Admiral Celeste Ward looked at her black operations team. The Dorali won't stop with 6 ships. They'll send more. Bigger ones. Real fleets. But by then it won't matter. She opened a secure map of the outer galaxy. "We're not just protecting Earth anymore," she said. "We're moving forward." The officers looked up. No one said a word. She continued. "Stage 2 begins tomorrow." Stage 1 had been silence. Let them come. Let them underestimate. Let them make the mistake. Stage 2 was different. 3 days later, across the galaxy, things started happening. On a Trinari moon base, a main power station shut down, and when restarted, their system interface displayed a single phrase: "Earth remembers." A cargo ship belonging to the Cathari hive was found adrift, its hull intact, its crew gone. On the wall was scorched a symbol no one recognized: Earth's old Delta Force patch. A Council News satellite in the neutral zone captured a strange image, a massive dark triangle drifting near a binary star. When zoomed in, the ship had no known registration, no heat signature. An Earth's planetary outline etched under its hull that the fear spread quietly, in whispers. In secret military channels, no official announcements, not yet. But the message was clear. Earth had changed. On the Dorali homeworld, Counselor Risha stood in her private chambers, watching the stars through a glass dome. Her assistant entered. "Counselor, we just received a transmission. It's coded with a Sol system origin." She turned. "Open it." The screen flickered. There was no video, just a black background and a human voice. Mail.com. Chillingly polite, the Council. "Of Dorali, you sent scouts, you sent drones, you sent warnings. Now you've seen a glimpse of what we hid. We were never weak. We were quiet. If you approach Earth again, we will not be. This is not a threat. This is your only mercy." And the message ended. The Council called an emergency meeting. But now, it wasn't just about Earth. Someone from the Trinari side had sent a question. If Earth can cloak entire fleets, who else have they already reached? Back near the moon, in a secret hangar, a new ship powered up. Bigger than the others, not black, sleek, silent, deadly. Project Ghostlight was online. Its mission was simple: go beyond Sol, show them what fear looks like. The Galactic Council had only called an emergency meeting 8 times in history. The last one was during the Devourer crisis, when an unknown life form consumed the star systems. This time, the crisis was Earth. Ambassadors from 62 species gathered on Cora Prime, the Council's central world. The chamber buzzed with tension. News had spread fast, even though most governments tried to hide it. Earth's signal to the Dorali, the destroyed scout ship, the ghost fleets, the whispering, warnings. The ship that supposedly spoke to another vessel, and now, rumors of something worse. Earth's fleet had left orbit. Chancellor Dvorak of the Trinari pounded his staff into the floor. "We demand a response. Earth's threats are destabilizing." Neutral space. Ambassador Sheetal of the Cathari hissed through his fangs. "We offered them a seat on this council years ago. They refused. Now they send ships instead of words." Dorella Counselor Risha stood slowly. She was calm, but her voice carried weight. We made a mistake, she said. We judged Earth by what we saw, not by what they hid. Others scoffed, but then the chamber dimmed. A signal appeared uninvited. The Council's encryption keys didn't block it. The galaxy's most secure network was breached. A hologram formed in the center of the Council chamber. It was a man, human, late 50s, black jacket, gray hair. No emotion. He looked directly at the ambassadors. We understand you're frightened. That's not unusual, we would be too. This isn't a declaration of war. This is a correction. For centuries you called us weak, watched us, measured us, laughed at us, but we evolved in chaos. We thrived in pressure. You measured what you could see, not what we are. This is not a broadcast. This is a presence. You're already. Here the Council stared in stunned silence. Then the man raised one hand, and the hologram changed. It now showed a ship, a massive one. Earth's first fully revealed warship. It was not made of metal. It was grown part biotech. It shimmered like liquid. It had no engines visible. It had no seams, and most terrifying of all, it had no name. Only a call sign, Ghostlight 1. The hologram zoomed in to show a strange symbol on the side, a burning Earth, surrounded by a ring of stars. You wanted us at your table. We've come with our own share. The signal cut. No trace. No origin. Just static back in the chamber. No one moved. Ambassador Sheetal broke the silence. That ship. I've seen designs like it before. Risha turned to him. Where? The Cathari ambassador hesitated. In the ruins of the Singari vault world, a dead race. We found partial blueprints, but the tech was beyond understanding. The humans rebuilt it, Risha whispered. No, Sheetal said. They improved it. Hours later, satellites. Above neutral border worlds, began picking up strange flashes. They were not explosions. They were ship folds, a type of jump technology no species had successfully created without leaving trails, except now ships were appearing inside planetary orbits, bypassing defense grids, staying only for seconds. Just long enough to be seen, every world received the same message in their local language. Observation complete. Earth acknowledges you. Continue in peace. It wasn't a threat, but it felt like one, at Earth command, deep beneath the Greenland. Ice Corps Admiral Solis watched the reports flow in. Trinari defense systems on alert. Velengard fleets. Partial lockdown. Cathari war choirs. Activating Dorit's. It was working. She turned to the holomap and pointed at a region beyond. Council space. Send Ghostlight 1 to the unclaimed zone. Let them see what it can do without firing a single shot. Her aide nodded. If someone fires first? Celis's voice was quiet. Then we let Stage 3 begin. A week later, a Velen patrol cruiser entered the unclaimed zone for a resource scan. They weren't looking for trouble, but they found it. In orbit around an unregistered gas. Giant floated GHOSTLIGHT-1. Massive. Silent. Watching the Velen. Crew tried to ping it. No response. They tried a warning signal. The ship turned slowly. Its outer hull changed shape, absorbing the energy of the gas storm, adapting like a living thing. The Velen captain panicked. Back out. Back out now. As they pulled away, the human ship vanished. Not jumped. Vanished. No energy trail. No distortion. Gone. The Velen government tried to hide the report, but a junior officer leaked it, and the galaxy finally took Earth seriously. Back on Cora Prime, the Council drafted a new directive. Contact Earth directly. Offer dialogue. Reduce. Escalation. They sent a ship. One of their finest, it never made it past Jupiter. Instead, it received a simple message. No embassies. No meetings. We warned you once. Watch from a distance. We're not interested in being understood. We're interested in not being interfered with. Then came the closing line. If you can't understand that, wait for part 3. It started with silence. Then the silence was broken by disappearances. Not of people, not of planets, but of ships. Big ones, powerful ones. ships that were supposed to be untouchable. The Velen Dreadnought Sunspick, 20 kilometers long and shielded by quantum lattice armor, vanished while patrolling a border sector. All systems were green. All scans were clear then. It was gone. No wreckage, no signal, no crew. The last recorded footage showed only static, and a faint human voice, whispering something no translation AI could fully decode. The weight of your pride is the weight that sinks you. Next came the Dorelli cruiser Vicara. It had secretly been trailing Ghostlight 1 across a nebula cloud. They tried to jam Earth's signal, track their energy, tag their hull. All systems failed. The Vicara crew started reporting strange things, systems acting on their own. Walls flickering like holograms, sound coming from outside the ship in hard vacuum. Then their engines shut down. One crew member sent a short transmission before blackout. "It's inside our ship." But we never opened a door. Nothing more was heard. The galaxy began to panic quietly. The Galactic Council met again, this time under complete lockdown. Reports came from multiple sectors. Ghostlight-class ships were appearing and disappearing. At will, no one could trace their jumps. Their AI signatures didn't match any human tech previously known. They didn't attack, but they made sure to be seen. Earth was broadcasting fear. Admiral Celeste Ward stood in Earth's Central War Command Center. Arms folded as the holomap showed bright red panic signals across 37 sectors. Her officers looked at her unsure. "Ma'am, are we escalating to war?" She shook her head. "This is containment, not conquest." "Then what are we doing?" Her voice was cold. "We're teaching them why you don't watch a sleeping predator." For centuries, the galaxy believed Earth was too fractured, too divided, too slow to matter. But Earth had evolved in a way no species expected. It had learned to build in secret. It had mastered silence as a weapon. It had shaped war machines, not from steel, but from fear, psychology, and chaos. It had never needed numbers. It only needed examples. On the other side of the galaxy, in Sector Luma 3, a group of Cathari war scientists tested a new orbital cannon designed to destroy asteroids from 100 million kilometers away. They targeted an abandoned asteroid mining colony to demonstrate. They fired. The cannon's beam stretched across space. But halfway through its charge, the systems froze, then reversed. The energy flow turned back into the cannon, itself melting it down before the engineers could shut it off. The colony, still abandoned, remained untouched. On a nearby cum tower, a message was found carved into the metal. "Don't aim your weapons where you don't understand the shadows." The Cathari demanded retaliation, but the Council refused. They didn't even know where Earth truly was anymore. Every ship, every outpost, every official Terran colony now reported back with false coordinates, scrambled time signals, and decoy cum patterns. It was like Earth had melted into the stars. A ghost, a legend. Meanwhile, the humans had already begun Phase 3, in the Androxy Drift, far beyond Council control. Earth made first contact with the Visharia species so hidden. The galaxy barely believed they were real. The Vishari watched from the dark, spoke in code, and trusted no one until they met Earth. The humans sent no diplomats, no weapons, only a data packet containing a message. "We are not the threat. We are the response." Vishari responded 3 hours later. "We have always waited for the ones who walk like ghosts. You are not feared here. You are welcomed." The Council couldn't believe it. Earth had made allies with a race no other species had ever seen face to face. Now they were not just dangerous, they were connected. Across Council-controlled space, fear turned into containment plans. Emergency drills, defense upgrades, stealth detection sweeps. But none of it worked, because the enemy they feared was not invading. It was simply watching. Ghostlight 2 appeared in the middle of a Trinari training exercise. 3 warships saw it blink in, shimmer like a mirage, then vanish. No weapons fired. But when they returned to base, their entire training data logs were wiped, replaced with a single image. Earth, surrounded by stars. No borders, no weapons. Just one phrase. You had time to listen.
Mm.
For every alien government trying to hide the threat, their people knew. Because Earth didn't just attack ships, it hacked broadcasts, civilian networks, personal feeds, even entertainment channels. One by one, across the stars, humans spoke directly to the masses. We don't want your worlds. We don't want your praise. We don't need your approval. We only need one thing, for you to remember. What fear feels like. Back on Cora Prime, Chancellor Varrock stood shaking in his quarters. He stared at the blinking message on his private console, one that somehow bypassed all his security layers. It was just 2 words. We're here. He crushed the device with his claws, but the message appeared on his mirror. Seconds later. Earth wasn't invading. It wasn't conquering. It was doing something worse. It was dismantling belief. Belief in power. Belief in control. Belief that weakness looked like silence. And as the galaxy whispered its fears in quiet corners, far beyond known space, humanity prepared its final phase. Because soon, the galaxy would learn that Stage 4 wasn't about shadows anymore. It was about what happens. When the shadows stepped forward, the galaxy had had enough. Fear had spread, silent and deep. For too long, trade routes were shutting down. Colonies refused to respond. Border worlds went dark, one by one. People whispered about Earth like it was a curse. But now the Galactic Council decided to take back control. They formed a fleet, the largest peacekeeping force in history. 17 species contributed warships, over 200 dreadnoughts, 50 carriers, thousands of interceptors. 30 orbital platforms were pulled from border sectors to join the formation. The Council called it Operation Final Light. Officially, it was a defensive show of force. Unofficially, it was something else. A trap. The fleet was ordered to assemble in Sector 041's neutral space. They would wait for Earth's mysterious ships to appear, then surround them, disable, capture, dissect, and finally, show the galaxy that Earth was just another species, not a myth. Admiral Relver of the Velen Corps took command. He stood tall aboard the Lightbreaker, his flagship, surrounded by generals and tacticians from 10 species. He looked at the star map. No signs of movement from Earth. Begin scan sweeps, he ordered. All frequencies, gravity echoes, thermal drifts. The fleet launched hundreds of sensor drones, nothing, just the quiet hum of deep space. Then the lights dimmed for exactly 6 seconds. Across the entire fleet, every ship, even the backup power. No. One could explain why. Then it ended, and in the silence that followed, a single human voice echoed through every every bridge, every personal device. You brought everyone to one place. Good. We don't have to look for you now. 6 red dots appeared on the star map, then 12, then 72 ships began appearing on the edge of sensor range, moving in total silence. Each was black, smooth, and shifted shape like flowing glass. Ghost-like class vessels, all of them, some small, some the size of moons. None of them matched any energy signature the Council had ever seen. No heat, no sound, no weapons deployed, and yet every officer on every ship felt something ancient in their bones. Dread. Admiral Relver clenched his jaw, lock shields, load every railgun. Oh. I want all targeting systems online. His command ship spun into defensive posture. Then it happened. The first human ship disappeared, then reappeared inside the Council fleet formation. No warning. No gravity wave. It moved like thought. On board the Durali cruiser Sunrail, the crew stared as the black Earth ship floated silently 100 meters from their starboard side. It didn't attack. It didn't broadcast. It just hovered. Then every screen on Sunrail went black, then flashed with a new message. This is not war. This is a lesson. You measured us by the wrong scale. Suddenly, dozens of ships across the Council fleet experienced internal shutdowns. Weapons froze. Lights died. Navigation spun. Then came the second message across the entire fleet. You looked for strength in numbers. We built strength in secrecy. While you counted ships, we erased the meaning of being counted. Panic spread. Some captains fired. Lasers. Plasma bolts. Rail slugs not. Not because of evasive action, but because the ghost light. Ships weren't fully there. Their hulls blurred, phased, flickered between dimensions. Weapons passed. Through them, like light through glass, the human fleet didn't fire back. They just moved fast. Perfect. Surrounding. The Council fleet in a growing ring, from above. Below, behind. It was like being inside. A hunting circle with no escape. On the bridge of the Lightbreaker, Admiral Relver shouted, "Fall back. Scatter formation. We've been compromised." But none of his commands reached the rest of the fleet. Communications were gone. Hijacked every screen now. Showed the same image. Earth. Not from orbit, but from inside as if someone stood in the middle of a street, looking up, and then explosions began. Not in space, but inside the Council. Fleet, ship after ship began to self-dash destruct, quietly, without any external damage, as if the ships chose it. Themselves, humanity hadn't built weapons. To fight ships, they had built ideas that infected control systems. Thoughts that traveled through machine logic and rewrote everything. Their true weapon was psychological code, embedded in transmissions, layered in audio, hidden in harmless-looking data. When Council ships analyzed the ghost signals, they let the weapon inside, and now it was ending them then. From the center of Earth's fleet, a new ship appeared, not black, but silver and gold, glowing softly with pulsing light, twice the size of the rest. It didn't broadcast anything. It didn't need to. Every species present knew what it was. The flagship of Earth's true fleet, its name etched in simple English on the hull. Resolution. Admiral Celeste Ward stood at its command deck. She watched as over 200 enemy warships drifted in chaos, still alive, but completely powerless. "Transmit final message," she ordered. And across space, through every channel, every language, every mind-linked interface, the galaxy heard, this was not an invasion. This was a reminder. Earth survived its own extinction 5 times. Alone, it adapted by becoming what you never expected. You thought we were sleeping, we were studying. You thought we were simple, we were evolving. You thought silence was weakness. You forgot what comes after silence. This is not war, this is warning. Stay away from Earth. Then, the Ghostlight fleet vanished, one by one, in perfect silence. Leaving behind only drifting, stunned Council ships sand the ruins of certainty. Back on Cora Prime, news spread within hours. Earth had stepped out of the shadows, and the galaxy would never feel safe again. Cora Prime was in chaos. The Galactic Council chamber, once a place of law, order, and diplomacy, was now filled with panic. Some ambassadors demanded war. Others begged for surrender. A few simply resigned and left the room in silence. All of them had seen the same thing. Earth's flagship. The defeat of the largest fleet ever assembled, and worse, the way Earth vanished afterward, like it had never been there at all. Chancellor Vorak slammed his fist onto the steel table. They didn't fire a single shot. Not one. And they disabled our entire armada. Counselor Risha, calm and pale, looked at him. "That was the shot, Chancellor." He turned on her. "Then what do you suggest? That we do nothing? That we let Earth dictate power?" "No," she said. "I'm saying we're not the ones in control anymore. Earth doesn't want our seat." At the table, they rebuilt the table. Behind closed doors, the Council began drafting a response. Not war, not directly. Instead, something far more familiar. A protocol of containment and narrative control. They called it Project Radiance. The idea was simple. Lie. Tell the galaxy the fleet incident was a joint exercise. Deny Earth's power. Ban discussion of Ghostlight ships on public networks. Sanction any species that cooperated with Terran vessels. Erase fear with words. They assumed Earth wouldn't respond. They were wrong. Within 2 days of Project Radiance going live, every major galactic communication hub was compromised. Not destroyed, just edited on every screen. In every sector, a new broadcast played once an hour. Footage of Earth's fleet surrounding the Council Armada, the message Earth had sent. And one new line at the end. You can't erase what's already inside you. Then the Council's own internal memos about Project Redance began, leaking publicly, complete, unedited. Someone had gotten access to their secure archives. In the underground forums of the Trinara youth networks, Earth became a symbol of rebellion in the Cathari border worlds. Some commanders refused council orders, saying they'd rather ally with Earth than pretend it wasn't powerful. Even Durali researchers began rewriting their academic models. Their equation of civilizational strength had a new factor. Terran silence, it couldn't be measured by ships, weapons, or wealth. It was something else, something terrifying, something inspiring. Meanwhile, Earth had already moved on, in a secret chamber beneath Antarctica. Admiral Celise Ward stood before the Continuum Volta device built to monitor galactic reaction patterns across thousands of data points. She turned to her AI advisor. Report. The AI's voice was calm. Council credibility has dropped 37%. Public belief in Terran superiority has risen 89%. 6 independent species have opened factional contact seeking alliance. Celise nodded, then began. Stage 5. Stage 5 wasn't about fleets or fear. It was about systems. Earth began moving into galactic trade quietly. Blacklight relays started replacing outdated council tech. Shipping routes redirected themselves to avoid council toll. Zones and still arrived faster. Weapons manufacturers received anonymous upgrades, faster plasma cells. New shielding tech, no one knew where it was coming from. They just used it. And every time a species accepted the upgrade, a tiny corner of their system linked to Terran. Protocol Earth didn't need to conquer anymore. It was already being downloaded on Cora Prime. Panic turned to confusion. How are they spreading this fast? Chancellor Varrock shouted. We've locked comms, sanctioned markets. They isolated there. Signal. Counselor Risha shook her head slowly. No, Chancellor. You locked yourselves in. They moved past you. Even worse, the Vishari, the secretive species from the shadows, made a public statement, something they had never done in galactic history. Their message was short and terrifying. We once watched in the dark. Now we follow the ones who mastered it. Earth leads. We align. That single message shook the Council to its foundation because the Vishari had no known fleet numbers, no homeworld location, no treaties. But legends claimed they could make stars go silent, and now they had chosen Earth. But Earth wasn't done yet. In an unclaimed zone near the galactic north edge, a small Terran fleet entered orbit of an ancient ruined world, the same world where, centuries ago, Council had classified a powerful alien artifact as too dangerous to access. Human teams landed. 6 hours later, they transmitted an image back to the stars. The artifact lifted, reactivated, and pulsing with light underneath, a human message. We don't follow your rules anymore. We follow results. The message was clear. Earth was taking what the Council had hidden, and they knew how to use it. At this point, species across the galaxy started facing a quiet decision. Keep pretending the Council was in charge, or admit what everyone now. New Earth had rewritten power, and no amount of lies could undo it. Back on Earth. In the Resolution's command chamber, Admiral Celise stood before her officers. All fronts are stable, one of them said. But the Council's still spinning propaganda. Celise smiled. They still think this is a game of force. She pointed to a map where red Council zones were turning gray, neutralized not by battles, but by belief collapse. Stage 6. Begins when their last illusion breaks, she said. And when that happens, they'll come to us. She paused, looking out into space. Not to demand, not to threaten, but to beg. In the end, it wasn't the explosions. It wasn't the silence. It wasn't the vanishing fleets or the ghostlight warships. What broke the galaxy was the realization that Earth had never wanted war. They had warned everyone, again and again. But no one had listened now. They didn't need to speak anymore. The galaxy was already changing itself in Earth's image. On Cora Prime, the Galactic Council stood in silence as a new report was read. One by one, 15 species had disconnected. From Council oversight, not with weapons, not with rebellion, but by signing trade pacts with Earth. Some of them were old allies. Others were old enemies. All of them made the same decision. We would rather walk with power than kneel under illusion. The final blow came 3 days later. A fleet appeared. Near the galactic core, not Earth's, not even. VA single quotes, Shari, it was made of species no one had seen in centuries. Hidden empires. Forgotten civilizations, they emerged slowly. Each ship bore 2 flags, their own, and Earth's insignia. They weren't controlled by Earth. They had chosen to stand beside it. Admiral Celeste Ward stood aboard the Resolution, staring at the incoming transmissions from across the galaxy. Reports came in from every sector. Cathari generals resigning, Trinari science guilds rewriting their technological standards, Svelan universities opening new departments titled Terran Strategic Modeling. Earth wasn't being feared anymore. It was being followed. She turned to her communications officer. Any message from the Council? Yes, ma'am, the officer replied. They're requesting terms. Celeste raised an eyebrow. Surrender? No worse. They want. Negotiations. Celeste smiled coldly. Tell them we're busy. Let them wait. In the Council chamber, Chancellor Varrock held the message in trembling hands. They refuse to meet, he whispered. They won't even acknowledge us now. Councillor Risha spoke softly, because we never acknowledged them. The chamber was silent. Then she added, It's over. The Council tried one last move, a final broadcast, a galaxy-wide message. Delivered across every ComNet, they begged for unity. They spoke of peace. They claimed Earth's rise was natural and welcomed. But Earth responded not with words, with a visual. A massive structure appeared in orbit around a dead star, a megastructure taller than any dreadnought, wider than any station. It was a Terran Forge ship, a living factory, a ship that built other ships. And it had already begun releasing new Ghostlight models. Some weren't ships at all. They were observation spires, capable of folding into systems without being seen. Others were diplomatic shells, empty vessels, designed to arrive. Message and vanish. That message was simple. Humanity does not seek control. We simply remove those unfit to hold it. At that moment, the galaxy understood. It was too late. Earth had already rewritten the rules. Power was no longer measured by fleet size. War was no longer fought with explosions. Control was no longer enforced by borders. Earth had mastered the one thing no other civilization had ever understood: influence that worked in silence. From abandoned mining worlds to ancient listening posts, Terran tech began to replace Council devices, not by conquest, but because it worked better, faster, smarter, cleaner. No, the species turned it down. Even those who once feared Earth now relied on it. On Earth, the people didn't celebrate. There were no parades, no declarations of dominance, because Earth didn't win a war. It ended a cycle where others judged, tacked, and calculated Earth's worth. That mistake would never happen again, and the last message sent by Earth to the galaxy came not from a fleet, not from an admiral, but from a child, a broadcast sent through an educational feed. A young human girl, maybe 10 years old, stood in front of a quiet meadow. She looked into the camera and said, "We didn't come to scare you, just came to make sure no one ever scares us again." Then she smiled. The feed ended. It became the most replayed message in galactic history, more than any war, speech, more than any council decree. Because in those simple words, the galaxy finally saw what Earth truly was. Not conquerors, not monsters, not even warriors, but survivors who had learned to never let history repeat. Cora Prime was silent. The council halls. Now, Museum's power had shifted, not with blood, but with presence, and far beyond. At the edge of the galaxy, Earth's fleets moved in quiet patterns, watching, waiting, never striking. They didn't need to anymore, because the stars themselves had learned a final lesson. Never study a sleeping storm, unless you're ready to face the lightning.